Hi everyone, this is Farindra. I work as a HR business partner at Entity Data. So in this video, I am going to explain about the HR department, which is also called as corporate people functions. So let's consider this as a HR business unit, and under this HR business unit, what sort of departments are segregated in the current corporate companies. So each and everything will be explained in detail. You can watch this video till the end, and if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel. And then coming to the next slide. So here these are the departments which comes under the business unit of human resources in the current corporate companies. So coming to the first one, it would be talent acquisition. The next would be BGV Check Department. The third would be HR operations, which is also called as people operations. The fourth would be HR business partners, who are also called as people partners. And the next would be HRIS team or HRIT, and it depends on the organization how they would like to call the respective team. It would be abbreviated as human resources information system or technology. And the next would be payroll department, compensation and benefits department. In short, they call it as comp and pen. And the next would be HR analytics, and few people call it as people and analytics department. So I'm going to explain the roles and responsibilities of the respective departments in the current company as per the corporate. Because few people, this is a video specifically for people who would like to pursue their career in these human resources. So if you want to pursue your career in this human resources, this is the right video for you people to understand the various departments that were evolved in these current corporate companies. And you can find all these departments which has been segregated only in these MNC companies. For example, let's consider TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, Infosys, and only in these kind of companies you can find these kind of departments which are segregated from the business unit of human resources. Because if you see the case of startup companies or mid-level size companies, only you can see only few departments like talent acquisition department and HRBP department and payroll department. And few people who work in HR operations, they does payroll. There is no specific department for payroll, they only do the payroll processing. So likewise, it depends on the organization and the size of the organization in order to segregate the departments from the HR business unit. So now I'll explain about each and every department in detail. So coming to the first one, which is talent acquisition, and in short it is called as TAG, which is abbreviated as talent acquisition group. So these are the roles and responsibilities usually of people who are working in this talent acquisition department. So the first thing is they identify the job requirements. So in order to understand the complete HR process, we have to understand the organization structure, okay, the hierarchy of the organization. So few people starting from business unit head or delivery head and the associate client service director, and then senior project managers, team leads, associates. So usually this would be the hierarchy in every organization, especially in MNCs. Okay, so it is the minimum responsibility of a project manager who should understand whether there is any resource crunch in the team or not. If there is no resource crunch, then it would not create any job requirement. If there is a resource crunch, then it creates a job requirement, and he has to inform the same to associate client service director, and then accordingly he will raise the requirement in the system. And this system is a software usually they have to purchase from the market. And then after raising the requirement in the system, then the respective talent acquisition partner will understand the job requirement, and he will connect with the respective project manager in order to understand the job requirement. Because let me tell you, usually in MNCs we will be having grade system A1, A2, A3, A4, or else E1, 2, E3, E4, E5 as such. So these grades are completely aligned with the experience. Okay, for example, if you have 1 year of experience, you come under E1 grade. If you are having 2 years of experience, you come under this E2 grade. 3 years experience candidate comes under this E3 grade. It doesn't only mean that the grades are aligned only with the experience. Sometimes it also aligned with the potential. For example, you are having 1 year of experience, but your skills are completely related to a person who is having 2 years of experience. Then your grade will be E2. Though you are having 1 year of experience, your grade would be E2. So sometimes, only sometimes, if the respective project manager or the talent acquisition partner found that you are potential enough, then your grade would be E2, and accordingly the requirements would be raised. Okay, so once if you are going to identify the job requirements and you are going to connect with the respective project managers, then you are going to prepare the job descriptions. Okay, so he is the one who will be giving the job description by understanding the exact requirement in the team or else exact requirement for the project, and then he will prepare the job description. And you as a talent acquisition partner, you are the most important point that you people have to remember is, in the job description you should also mention the company benefits, the perks and benefits. Okay, so the reason why you have to mention the perks and benefits, because it will help the associate to understand the culture of the organization, the perks and benefits that we provide as an organization. So at least by looking at the perks and benefits, he will impress, and this process is called as employer branding. Okay, so if you are going to mention the perks and benefits and the culture of the organization, then he would really impress with the with the job description. Okay, so accordingly you have to prepare the job description and you have to post it in the respective job portals. For example, as I have mentioned here, LinkedIn, Naukri, Indeed, HRIS, AngelList, IIM jobs, etc. So there are many other job portals, but these are the famous portals where most of the recruiters usually post jobs and source resumes. And after posting the jobs, then obviously candidates would be applying for the jobs, and you will be getting pool of resumes, and you are going to screen them. I mean, before that you are going to cold call, and then you are going to screen the resumes, and you are going to schedule interviews. You are going to shortlist candidates after taking the interviews, and then you are going to take the final round of HR, which is called as negotiation round, and where you are going to negotiate in terms of commercials or salary or compensation for that respective employee. And you will be having a budget for each and everything, and it's your responsibility to not to cross the budget, and that budget will be given by the business unit head. Okay, so this is very very important to remember. Your budget shouldn't cross. If it is crossing, then you have to take an approval from the respective business unit head, and then you have to process the offer, or else you shouldn't go ahead with the process. And the next would be compensation negotiation, which I have already explained you. And the next would be offer management. If you are going to get an approval of the respective candidate in order to shortlist him, then you are going to produce offer with the respective so and so date, and that would be very tentative, because we would be reverting back again to that email stating a revised joining date. So after his revert, then you have to share the another offer letter. So this will be the process in the MNCs. And the next would be ATS, which is called as applicant tracking system. So without any ATS, your process of recruitment doesn't happen. So if you are going to manually do it in Excel, that is fine, but accuracy is very important. End of the day, accuracy matters, because if you are going to present the data in front of the leaders, then accuracy is very important, right? So few people will purchase softwares from the market. For example, I have mentioned here TechJockey, My Next Hire, G2 in-house softwares. So coming to this in-house software, these are the softwares which are built by the organization itself. So the respective talent acquisition department will utilize the softwares which are built by the respective organization, and will do the recruitment process. And the next would be MIS, which is Management Information System. And the process of interviews, you have to compulsory record the interview. This is very very important. It doesn't come under micromanagement. This is very important for you as a talent acquisition partner working in a HR department, because if you are going to record the interview process, then that would be very very helpful for the post procedures. I will explain you why they are very helpful. And the next would be pre-onboarding documents. For example, if you are going to hire a candidate, prerequisites are very very important to gather. Let's say the offer letter and appointment letter of his previous organization, the experience company leaving letter, 3 months or 6 months of pay slips based on your requirement, and and the form 16. So you are going to take this kind of documents from the associates. Okay, so these are called as pre-onboarding documents. And the next would be ID proofs and photocopies to prepare his the ID card. So all these documents are very important, and you have to gather these documents, and you have to prepare a folder, and you have to save all these documents in the folder. And accordingly, for each and every candidate, you have to create a folder with respective departments and respective business units. and accordingly you have to maintain the information. So this is called as management information system. And not only in this department, wheresoever, for example, if you're working in HR business partner team, HRIS team, operations team, wherever you go, MIS is very very important, and the accuracy which you maintain in the information is very very important, quite important. Okay, because that will be useful in audits. And the next would be metrics analysis. So coming to this metrics analysis, there would be many metrics in the talent acquisition department, and I have mentioned only few here. So coming to here, coming to time to hire, quality of hire, source of hire, cost per hire, offer acceptance rate, offer decline rate, interview experience rate, and etc. So only few I have mentioned here, and there are different kind of metrics that you people have to analyze in order to understand the process, how the process is going on in the talent acquisition department. And the next would be onboarding. And in this process of onboarding, generally HR business partners take care of this onboarding process, but you as a recruiter, you are at most responsible to give your partial involvement there. Because, for example, let's consider a situation. Tomorrow is a onboarding date, and let's consider you have issued 12 offers to 12 associates, and among them at least one would decline that offer, right? And that is called as offer decline rate as per the metrics. And at least one associate will decline the offer, and it's your responsibility to understand who is that, and it is your responsibility to inform the respective HR business partner that so and so associate is not willing to join, and they have revoked. Okay, or else you have revoked. And the next would be proxy evaluation. So in MIS, I have told you that interview recordings, right? So these interview recordings are very very important, because post onboarding process, you will be taking the screenshot. If it is a virtual onboarding process, right, then you have to compare. I mean, one person will be giving interview and another person will be coming for onboarding process. So this would happen in the MNCs. So better you have to be in safe side. Hence proxy evaluation process is very important, and it's your duty working in the talent acquisition department to evaluate the proxy cases. Fine. And once if it is a proxy, it's your duty to write a mail to the respective HR business partner regarding this proxy case, and thereafter they would be handling the case. So this would be the minimum roles and responsibilities of the talent acquisition department. And coming to the next, which would be BGV Check Department. Okay, so now coming to this BGV Check Department, employment record verification check. Yes, for example, currently if I am working in X organization, previously you might have worked in Y organization, right? So if you are, if you have worked for 2 years in Y organization and you have joined in X organization, and it's a BGV department responsibility to check whether he really worked for 2 years there or not. If he really didn't work for 2 years there, then that would be a BGV error case or falsification case, because he might have submitted wrong onboarding documents. So in order to initiate BGV, firstly you need to have a proper onboarding documents in your hand. So after getting onboarding documents from the operations team, then you have to initiate BGV. So few people will tie up with the third party vendors, and few people will be having in-house BGV team. So these third party vendors, generally they charge per head, either 350 rupees or 450 rupees per head. Okay, so they will be conducting the employment record verification checks, criminal record checks, behavioral checks, address verification checks, national identity checks, and the next would be national skill registry. And national skill registry, the complete the complete information of the employee would be there in this national skill registry. And after all these verifications, a final report would be generated by the BGV department. That would be BGV report. And in this report, you can find 3 variables, that would be red, amber, and green. If it is mentioned as red, which means that the documents which are provided by the employee during onboarding process is fake. Okay, the documents which are provided by him are fake. And coming to this amber, it would be few situations. Yes, there would be amber cases, like for example in the process of this background verification, his previous employer might have not responded to his email, the BGV vendor email, and there are few kind of cases which happen like that, and they fall on these amber cases. And if in these cases, in these situations, It is a minimum responsibility of HR business partner to reach out to the particular associate and ask him to the respective reach out to his previous HR department and connect with us, so that this amber would be converted into the green case. And coming to this green case, if the onboarding documents are completely being matched with the BGV process, then the report would be green. So coming to this next one, which would be VVF, which is called as vendor verification. And if it is a service providing organization, then only the VVFs will be generated. And if it is a product based companies, the VVFs are not generated. Vendor verification report is something which is completely aligned to the BGV report. If this BGV report is green, then you are going to share the VVF, the vendor verification report, to the client, and it's a project manager a duty to do that. But from our end, the respective HR business partner will do this BG, I mean, will create this VVF and will share it to the project managers, and the respective project manager will share it to the client. So this would be the process. And so these are the general roles and responsibilities in the corporate that PGV department do. And the next would be HR operations or people operations. So coming to this HR operations roles and responsibilities, it would include the ensure employees should fill the onboarding documents at any cost, and the accuracy is very important. The reason why, because these onboarding documents are very important, because after the onboarding process itself we are going to initiate the background verification check. So in order to share this onboarding documents, firstly you have to ensure that and the information which is being provided by the employee is accurate or not. So after the checks, then only you have to share the onboarding document to the BGV vendor, or else if it is an in-house team, then you have to share it to the BGV team. And the next would be maintaining the complete employee related documents. So complete onboarding documents, you have to maintain it, and this is called as management information system. And the next would be preparing payroll inputs. So the respective HR business partner will consolidate they will be providing the payroll inputs, and it's your duty working in HR operations to consolidate all the payroll inputs and share it in the form of cost to the payroll team. And the next would be issuing transfer letters, probation extension letters, salary increment letters, experience and relieving letters, form 16 to the associates at any cost. So transfer letters, generally the process of the transfers will be facilitated by the respective HR business partners. But once the transfers are approved by the respective business unit heads, then it is a HR operations team responsibility to issue the transfer letters to the associate, and all the transactional activities should be performed by the HR operations team. And the next will be probation extension letters. So usually probation period is something called as observation period. So if you have joined today, so from today 3 months would be your probation as per the company policies, or else 6 months would be your probation as per the company policies. So after your probation, still if your manager has found that you need to improve more, then your probation will be extended for 3 more months or 2 more months as per the policies. And that probation extension letter should be issued, or else shall be issued by the HR operations team. Okay. And the next would be salary increment letters. So generally revision cycle happens every year, or else it depends on the company policies, like half yearly basis or as annual basis. Salary increment letters should be issued once if the respective employee is getting hike. And the next would be experience and relieving letters. So once employee is offboarded from the organization, and it's a minimum responsibility after getting clearances from the all the departments to issue the experience and relieving letters. And then the later would be form 16, either in the month of June or July. The respective HR operations team would be sharing form 16 to the personal mail IDs of the associates for the existing employees and for the current employees. And usually few HRs only share this form 16 to the current employees. It would be also great if you are going to share the form 16 to the exiting employees, the already relieved employees, because that creates employee experience. You as a HR should always be responsible for the experience of an employee. So if you share this form 16 to exited employees, then he would feel great. Instead of reaching you out, if you are going to directly share the form 16 to him, it would be great. So the next would be resolve employee queries on statutory compliances and labor regulations. So many people who work in our organization would be having many queries related to PF, gratuity, tax exemptions, like when would be the tax window open or close. So each and everything he would be having doubts, and it's HR operations team to address these queries at any cost. And the next would be audits and compliances and HR cost reports. So usually these cost reports and audits. So for example, let's consider an employee is eligible to avail 12 leaves per year, and each leave cost the organization. So for example, if one leave costs 1000 rupees per associate, then similarly, if many associates, like let's consider the 100 associates are availing 12 leaves, all the 12 leaves, then how much cost is being incurred by the organization? You have to prepare that cost report and you have to share it to the finance team. So it is your role, if it is your responsibility to do that, working in the HR operations team. And the next would be insurance and other benefits. So generally every organization provide insurance as a benefit to the employees. So the renewal process or issuing the or facilitating the things between employee and insurance vendor, it is a primary responsibility for you as working in a HR department. Okay, so generally these are the roles and responsibilities if any person who is working in a HR operations team. So coming to the most and important the designation or the role called as HR business partners. So this is very important role, and they play a vital role in the organization. So the coming to the roles and responsibilities, because I work as HR business partner, I completely correlate and explain you about the roles and responsibilities and how critical our role is. And one of the most important point which you people have to remember is, if you are working as HR business partner, then you will be the primary point of contact for every employee who is working under your portfolio. So respective HR business partners will be having respective portfolios, or the business units who will be handling the respective business units. So only those employees who are working for the respective business units comes under your portfolio. Okay, so these these employees who belong to your portfolio, you will be the primary point of contact as a HR business partner for those employees. And the roles and responsibilities would include onboarding the employees. This is very important, because we know that the first impression will always be the best impression for the employees. So you should provide the best experience. The first day experience should always be very great. Okay, so you should be very delightful to perform this activity. And the onboarding of employees is very important. You have to onboard employees, and yeah, obviously different organizations will be having different process of onboarding, and by taking a proper 2 days of KT, you will be able to understand the onboarding process and you will be performing it. And the next would be document and report the HR activities to leadership team. So another point to be noted here is, you from the HR team. So I have told you there are various departments and various people working in the HR departments, but you as a HR business partner will only be having the right to meet leadership team. Okay, so only HR business partners have that right or authority to meet the leadership team. And so you have to prepare the month-on-month reports or quarterly reports or half-yearly or annual reports, and share it to the leadership team, so that they will be able to understand the resource movements that were happening in the organization. And the next would be supporting employees on day-to-day basis. So they would be having few queries regarding anything. Okay, so it's your responsibility to address the queries at any cost. So, and one of the most important point which you people have to remember is, you working as a HR business partner, you should be aware of the complete A to Z process, end-to-end process of human resources that happen in the organization, because you would be the primary point of contact for the employees as a HR business partner. So they would be thinking that you are a HR for the organization, and they will reach out to you. So you should be responsible to address these queries at any cost. In order to address these queries, you should be completely aware of the HR process that happen in the organization. The next would be performance management. So each and every company would be having different models or modules. Okay, of this performance management, and you have to implement that, and you have to process this performance management either half yearly basis or annual basis, and you have to evaluate it. And this is really a quite big process and interesting process. So you will be having a calibration session with the respective HODs, I mean the associate client service directors or business unit heads, and you will be able to understand the box fitment and the ratios of the employees in terms of their performance. So this is very interesting activity that HR business partners do. So the next would be rewards and recognitions. Yes, this is very important. The reason why, for example, if you're working hard and if you are not properly being recognized, then you will be demotivated. So you as a HR shouldn't demotivate people. Instead, you need to motivate. So in order to motivate them, you need to properly recognize them with rewards and awards. Got it? And the next would be cost optimization strategical movements. So one of the most important point which you people have to remember is you as a HR should always think about the cost optimization. Yes, you have to work for organization, similarly for people as well. But in order to serve people, you are also going to serve the organization as well, right? So in order to serve the organization, it's your responsibility to optimize the cost, and that is one of the most important KRA, key responsibility area. Got it? So the next would be retention management. So before resignation and after resignation doesn't matter. You are going to retain employees with proper benefits and proper compensation as per the market standards. And the next would be implementing and revising HR policies. So every year the policies has to be revised, because if today this is a market trend, tomorrow this wouldn't be like this. The market changes. Similarly, your HR policies should also change, which should meet the expectation of the employees and the market. Got it? And the next would be global transfers. So usually if any client, I mean this happens only in the service providing organizations, few employees will get on-site opportunities directly from the organization itself. And that would be one of the policy in your that would be one of your module in the HR policies, which is called as overseas assignment or global transfers. So you have to send him, and it's organization responsibility to bear the cost and incur the cost and send that particular associate to the on-site. And the next would be taking repetitive feedbacks on the employee experience. Yes, this is very very important, because employee experience is very very important, and you as a HR business partner should understand whether his experience is going good or bad. In order to understand that, you have to you have to enroll this survey. It is called as EPS. In order to roll out this EPS survey, you have to prepare MS form or else a MyCheck survey as such, and then roll out that EPS survey to the associates, and accordingly they will they will fill the details, and you will be able to analyze the details information. And this is called as employee pulse survey. So this is just an example. Likewise, you can do many other things. So coming to offboarding, which is for example, if employee is being resigned, then it's your responsibility. And usually every HR department in every organization, we have SLAs, service level agreements. So if associate is resigned, is resigning, then within 48 hours we need to reach out to him in order to understand the reason behind the resignation. Okay, so you shouldn't cross this 48 hours. If you are going to cross the 48 hours, then it is auto deemed as resignation acceptance. Okay, so you shouldn't give the chance to the associate. In order to prevent that, you have to connect with the associate and to talk to him in order to understand the reason for the resignation. Similarly, in the case of exit interviews, if the last working day is tomorrow, then today you have to connect with him and you should explain the complete exit formalities, and you have to prepare the F&F, which is called as full and final settlement. You have to share it to the payroll team. And the next would be cadence meeting with business leadership team. So every month you need to schedule. It's your duty as a HR business partner to schedule the cadence meeting with the business leadership team, and should explain the complete resource movements and the HR activities that we have performed in the complete month. And the next would be decision making. So HR business partners are the right person to take the decision. If employee has to be onboarded, the respective employee has to be onboarded, yes, that is responsible the decision, the taking the decision is responsible by the HR business partners. And if this employee shouldn't be in the organization, yes, it's a decision that has to be taken by the HR business partner. So we are the decision making, we are the facilitators, we are the process owners for everything. So that's the reason HR business partners work as a leader. They interact with the leaders a lot, and they are kind of a lead for the complete HR team. Got it? And the next would be HRIS, which is called as Human Resource Information System. So generally these are technical HR people. So they are technical expertise in the domain of human resources when it comes to the technical side. So usually these people, they manage timesheets. Timesheets are very critical and important, and every employee who join us, we have to conduct this timesheet induction session, because that is very important, and every organization will be following the different kind of timesheet softwares and the process. So all the WBS elements, or else the activity types that they have to clock in and clock in the time, and each and everything should be very specific, and that manual has to be provided, or else has to be shared to the employees properly, and they have to update it accordingly. And few people will be definitely getting many queries on this timesheets, and they will reach out to the respective HRIS team. So they never reach out to HRIS team, instead they reach to HR business partners, and it's HR business partner responsibility to navigate that query to the HRIS team. Got it? And the next would be timesheet inductions. Yes, that timesheet inductions are very important in order to explain the how the billable employees has to clock the times, how has to clock the time in the timesheets. And utilization management of billable resources. Yes, there will be particular utilization rate, which is called as a productive rate, and sometimes it exceeds 100%, sometimes it exceeds 110% as well, and sometimes it would be 20%, 30% as well. And few people who comes under this 20%, 30% utilization rate, then EDP will be, or PIP will be initiated for these people. EDP, in the sense, it is abbreviated as Employee Development Plan. In the case of PIP, it is called as Performance Improvement Plan. So these will be initiated to the people whose productivity or utilization rate is very less, because they are billable employees. If you are a billable employee, then it is a minimum responsible to work dedicatedly for the project, right? And if he is not working dedicatedly, then it is HR responsibility to initiate EDP, and you have to talk to the respective managers, to the respective associate, looping into the call or in the meeting, and then you have to discuss and explain the complete policies of EDP or PIP and initiate the process. And again, the EDP letter has to be shared by the HR operations team. So likewise, the complete transactional activity will be taken by the HR operations team, whereas in the case of HR business partner team, they take care of the strategical decisions, or else any meetings that has to be held between managers, or else between management and HR department, has to be performed by the respective HR business partners. And the next would be providing payroll inputs. So payroll inputs, in the sense, for example, generally payroll department, how do they computate the salaries? Usually they computate the salaries only by looking at the timesheets. So for example, if employee is clocking the time, then only then the payroll executive will be able to understand, okay, he has clocked the time for the respective days, and we have to process salary for the respective days, right? And this HRIS team is responsible to provide the number of days that associate has clocked the time, and the data has to be shared to the payroll department. So this is called as providing payroll inputs from the HRIS perspective. So resolving employee tickets for any access. So generally few people need access. Not only in the not only for billable resources, even for non-billable resources who support the organization, right? They need few access for the system, and it's HRIS team responsibility to close the tickets by providing the access to the resources. And the next would be tickets cost management. So for each and every ticket that will be raised by the associate, it cost or it impact towards the organization in terms of the cost, and the cost management has to be taken care by the HRIS department. So the next would be perform application upgrades and provide technical support to employees. So that's what they should understand: the market standards, what sort of softwares that market is properly currently using, and how well we can implement that in the organization. If we implement, whether that will work out or not, each and everything 360-degree knowledge should be there for this HRIS team in order to implement a software in the organization. So yeah, they provide technical support for the employees if there are any disturbances or disruptance during the process of their clocking timesheets. So generally, these are the roles and responsibilities that HRIS team does. And the next would be payroll department. So this is one of the interesting department, and few people who work in talent acquisition department or HR operations department, they feel something like to take an internal job rotation in order to work for this payroll department, because this is one of the most interesting department, because they work in numericals, they work for numericals, right? They computate the salaries, and they have to be very very accurate. And these guys, as per my experience, I can tell you that these guys who work for payroll department, they there are many sleepless nights. They work for employees a lot and a lot, and the salaries that they provide will be very 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 accurate. So if we are getting accurate salaries, then the respective payroll department is working hard, and it is our as an employee, we have to understand that payroll department is working hard. So this is one of the best department and critical department. So if there is any query in terms of salaries, then that falls to the payroll department. So hence your salary bonus cases rate should be decreased. So I'll explain each and everything why this payroll department is very critical, and why they should be very very specific while doing their work. So I'll explain each and everything in detail. So coming to the salary computation. So this is the first roles and responsibility that the payroll department does: salary computation. So I have told you, right, from HR business partner, payroll inputs will be provided. From HR operations team, payroll inputs will be provided, and from HRIS team, payroll inputs will be provided. And it is the payroll department responsibility to consolidate all the inputs which are being provided by the respective departments, and accordingly he will compute the salary, which means in terms of commercials, right? So all the things which we provide are in the form of days. The respective HR business partners or HRIS team will provide the inputs in form of days. So this payroll department will convert that days into salary, into the numericals. Got it? And accordingly he will prepare the pay sheets. And after creating the pay sheets, he will share those pay sheets to the finance department, and the respective finance department, they disperse the salaries to the associates. And the next role and responsibility would be PF payments to the EPFO. So usually, the PF deductions happen from your salary, which would be, 1800 plus 1800, which would be 3600 as a basic cut of PF from your deduction, from your salary as a deduction, PF deduction. And few people opt for VPF, and accordingly that will be deducted in the process of salary computation, and that rest of PF payment should be done at any cost to the EPFO, that is Employee Provident Fund Organization, which is a government organization. And we have to do the payments at the earliest, because if you are not going to do the payments to EPFO, that again you need to pay penalty for the government, right? So instead of paying penalty, what payroll department does is, after completing the payroll computations, this payroll processing, immediately they do the PF payments to the EPFO. And the next would be dealing with salary bonus cases. So few people, like for example, after 30, in the month end, you will be receiving salaries. Few associates won't receive salaries because of so and so reasons. So these cases are called as salary bonus cases, and you will be able to identify these salary bonus cases after the payroll cycle. Like you will be getting to know from the bank, so and so reason we are unable to disperse salary to respective account. So you'll be able to you'll be able to understand this is one of the source in order to understand the salary bonus cases. And the second source would be from the associates itself. Associates will directly reach out to the respective HR business partner that their salary is not disbursed yet, In order to know it, you will be reaching to the payroll department, and it's your process as a HR business partner to navigate that query or that grievance or that case to the payroll team, and the respective payroll department will be taking care of it. And the next would be cost reports. So the cost report which is being generated by the payroll department impacts the organization a lot and a lot in terms of revenues and profits. So these cost reports should be prepared very well by the payroll department, because it will involve the month-on-month reports which they have spent on the resources, on the human resources, and that report will be sharing to the finance team. And the next would be the process of the payroll cycle. So this is very very important for a normal employee who don't want to pursue their career into HR, or as for people who want to pursue their career into HR. This is very important to remember, so please listen to this process carefully. The first thing would be, generally there will be two payroll cycles which will be conducted in every organization if the organization size is crossing 600 or 700, because it is a huge organization who is having a huge manpower. Then they conduct two payroll cycles, which is, for example, let's say this is March month, and then we conduct the first payroll cycle on 22nd March and the second payroll cycle on 7th of next month, which is called as April. Okay, so these both are called as payroll cutoff dates. The 22nd would be the first cutoff date, which is in the March month, and the second cutoff date would be the 7th of April month. And in this April month, you are going to receive the March month salary only, but not the April month. Got it? So how come? You can ask me a question like that. I will be explaining it here clearly. So the first payroll cycle, generally people who are clocking the timesheets accordingly before the 22nd of March month. So this is called as payroll cutoff date, right? So people who are clocking the timesheets accordingly before 22nd of March month, then they are eligible for the first payroll cycle. And the next criteria would be, if their availability requisitions has been raised properly before 22nd of March month, then they will be eligible for this first payroll cycle. And people who have joined or exited before 22nd of March, they are eligible for the first payroll cycle. And now coming to the second payroll cycle, coming to salary bounce cases. For example, just now I have told you, right? I have explained you just now. Like for example, if the salary is not properly being credited for the employees in the first payroll cycle, they will be considered in the second payroll cycle. Okay, so salary bounce cases in first payroll cycle is one of the criteria for the second payroll eligibility. And coming to the next one, which will be lately clocked timesheets. For example, if associate has not clocked their timesheets even after crossing 22nd of March, they have to clock it before 7th of April. Then only they will be eligible for the second payroll month. If they are not eligible for the second payroll month, which means he didn't clock the time even after 7th, even before 7th April, which means it is HRIS team responsibility to send the reminders to the associate that your salary is on hold because you have not clocked the timesheet. Okay, so likewise every department work together only for the employees, and the next would be joined or exited after 22nd March. So for example, if employee who has left or else who has joined before 22nd of March, their salary will be computed only in the month of March itself. But in the case of people who has left or joined after 22nd of March, then their salary will be credited on 7th April. I mean, their payroll processing happens on the 7th April, which means they fall under the second payroll cycle. So coming to the next point, which will be collaborating with finance team transparently to disperse salaries to employees. Obviously, because you are going to prepare pay sheets, right? So you are going to share those pay sheets to the respective finance team who is dedicatedly working for the disbursements, and then the finance team is responsible to disperse salaries to the employees to their respective accounts. And the next would be MIS, which is called as Management Information System. Obviously, I have told you previously itself, every department is responsible to manage their information accurately. So coming to this payroll department, the accuracy should be 100%. It shouldn't be 100%, it should be beyond 100%, because it impacts the cost for the organization in terms of the revenues and the profits. So it is your utmost duty to maintain the details or the information accurately. So you are going to maintain and manage all months of pay sheets for external and internal audits. So usually the audits will be conducted by the finance team so that they will be able to understand whether the payroll sheets which they have computed are correct or not. Got it? So generally these are the roles and responsibilities of the payroll department. So coming to the compensation and benefits. So the left points that were jotted down here are the compensation, and the right side would be the benefits. So coming to the compensation side, here generally the CTC modulation and delivery happens, which means, for example, if you are going to, here again the talent acquisition department plays a key role. For example, if an associate is expecting some great package, for example, if his current CTC is 12 LPA and his expectation is 20 LPA, then it is a compensation benefits department to analyze whether his expectation is reaching towards the market standard or not. Accordingly, he will benchmark the compensation and then he will prepare the CTC and will deliver that to the talent acquisition department. So the respective talent acquisition department will paste that CTC stack up in the offer letter and will deliver that offer letter to the associate. So here the talent acquisition department and the compensation and benefits department will work collaboratively. And the next would be salary benchmarking. So usually this salary benchmarking is a process where the comp and ben team perform. So as I have explained to you previously itself, right? Usually salary revision cycle happens as per the policies of the organization, right? So either on half-yearly basis or annual basis, the salary revision cycle happens. If the process is happening, it is a primary responsibility of compensation and benefits team to analyze whether the current CTC is matching the market standards or not, with the respective roles and responsibilities, with the respective skill set, with the respective experience that they have, with the by having all these considerations in hand, they have to understand or benchmark the compensation by comparing it with the market standard. And the next would be key role in salary revision cycle. That's what I have explained you right now. And continuous analysis of market trend in terms of compensation, because if for example, if a software developer he is being if a software developer who is having 5 years of experience, if he is being paid for 20 LPA, which doesn't mean that even after 1 year he will not be paid for 20 LPA. That would increase, right? That would increase for 22 LPA or 23 LPA. So it is it is a responsibility of compensation and benefits team to understand at what rate the increase of that particular designation has happened in the market. Okay, so you have to note it down in the respective system or as in Excel, and you have to maintain the record appropriately. And the next would be frequent connect with vendors who are providing benefits to us. So that's what I have explained you at the right side. I'll explain you in the right side. So the best perks and benefits for corporate employees: health insurance, subsidized foods as per labor laws. Usually BAB provides sick leaves or casual leaves and maternity leaves. That's it. But beyond labor laws, what else special you are going to provide to your employees is something which is very important if you're working in a HR department. So in order to know it, you have to analyze the market. You have to do research what the other companies are providing much better than us. Then only you'll be able to understand, okay, we can implement this kind of policies in our organization and provide such kind of benefits to our employees, which will help employees to be satisfied and retain in the organization, right? So the special category of leaves can be paternity leaves, bereavement leaves, marriage leaves, paid family vacation, optional holiday, Friday or Monday holiday per year. So usually sick leaves or casual leaves, like for example, if you are sick for today, or else if you would like to if you are going to for if you are going for any outing with your family or with your friends, that would be a sick leave or casual leaves. And coming to this maternity leaves, if any woman is becoming a pregnant, then she will be eligible for this maternity leave. And yeah, I'll explain about all the leaves in detail in next any other video, but because this video itself is becoming a long video, so I'll explain only in short. And the special category of leaves coming to paternity leaves. So father is also responsible, right, to take the leaves, because maternity is something which is related to the mother, but in the case of father, he is eligible to avail these paternity leaves. And bereavement leaves are if there is any sudden demise of your family members, then you are eligible to take these bereavement leaves. And the next would be marriage leaves. If you are employees marriage leave, which means if your brother is going to get married, which doesn't mean that you are eligible for marriage leave. If you are going to get married, then only you are eligible to avail these marriage leaves. And paid family vacation leaves, optional holiday leaves, in order to celebrate your birthday, your family, in anyone from your family's birthday, so you can avail this optional holiday. And the next would be Friday or Monday holiday per year. So the next other many other benefits would be gym facility, so baby care hampers and shuttle or cab services, and your health checkup, pet insurance policy. So generally these are the benefits you can provide for your employees, which will help them to satisfy. And again, this very important for the talent acquisition department to remember that all these benefits should be properly mentioned in the job description, which will help the candidates who are applying to the job to understand the benefits of the organization, the perks and benefits which are provided by the organization. Okay, so mentioning the benefits is one of the most important tasks that a respective talent acquisition department have to do it. And the next would be HR analytics department, which is one of the interesting department. So usually HR analytics department, they take the information or the data from the respective teams, either from the talent acquisition team or HR business partner team, payroll team, or operations team, compensation benefits team. You will be taking all the data from the respective team and you will be consolidating it, and you will be converting that into the representations, graphs and representations, right, which will help the leaders to take the decisions. Here you are going to add a great value for the leaders. So hence HR analytics department plays a key role in any organization, not only in events but also in small scale and large scale and medium scale industries. HR analytics department plays a major and vital role. So for example, these are the analysis which you can do if you are working in any HR analytics department. So headcount summary, which includes grade wise distribution, that's what I have told you, right? E1, E2, E3 and E4. You can provide grade wise distribution, location distribution. For example, if your organization is based out of many many states, or is in many states, like let's say if you have, your organization is having facilities over various other states in India, then uh, all the employees have to be data have to be consolidated, and you have to understand the location distribution of the respective associates working in the respective locations. And the next would be headcount trend, so whether the headcount trend is being increased or not. And the next would be of onboarding versus offboarding, gender distribution, etc. So if you're onboarding versus offboarding, this is very important. Onboarding in the sense how many people you are hiring and how many people who are leaving comes under the offboarding. So if the onboarding rate is less than the offboarding rate, which means your headcount rate will decrease, right? Obviously. So these are the correlation which you need to observe if you are working in the analytics department, and this is one of the interesting department, trust me. And the next would be induction and onboarding feedback analysis, which is called as onboarding rate. You have to conduct a survey, you have to roll out a survey, and then you need to understand. You have to take feedback from the associates who have who was into part of this onboarding, and then you need to understand. Okay, these are the changes which we can do in the coming onboarding process. You'll be able to understand that. And the next would be employee engagement feedback analysis, which is called as retention rate. Usually post joining, employee will be assigned with a work buddy, and then he will be interacting with the team. He will be able to understand his roles and responsibilities. Few of their roles and responsibilities will be completely mismatched, and this is the right platform. If you're going to share this survey, if you're going to roll out this survey to the associates, they will be clearly write the feedback. And here we, respective HR business partner, again should involve here and should understand where the gap is, and you will be reaching out to the respective associate, and you will be able to understand where the actual gap is, and it's your responsibility as a HR business partner to reach out to the associate and to understand why the feedback was negative. Okay, if it is negative. If it is positive, then everything is going good. And the coming to the resignation summary, you should provide month-on-month trend. So, for example, in the case of January, how many people have resigned? In the month of February, how many people have resigned? And if the resignation trend is being increased, then there is something wrong going on. Okay, so you have to create a resignation matrix as well by aligning with the grade. So, for example, if people who are resigning on so and so reason with the respective E4 grade, which means there is a high rate of E4 grade with so and so reason who are resigning. So you have to create such kind of inputs to the leadership team so that they will be taking good, good strategical decisions. And the next would be exit summaries. You will be providing the exit trends, operation trend, average utilization of exits, average tenure of exited employees, reasons for exits, attrition rate. And the next would be rewards and recognition analysis. So month on month window utilization, you usually be open window of these rewards and recognitions, and we tell employees to nominate themselves, or as it depends on the type of category that we are going to issue. Okay, and then accordingly you have to understand how many people have utilized it, and then you have to align that with performance with rewards and rewards and recognition nominations. So you are going to receive nominations. Simply what many HRs does is simply they if you receive the nominations, they simply consolidated it. After consolidation, they simply issue any kind of letters or vouchers as such. That shouldn't happen, because every day you are going to evaluate the performance if it is a 360-degree or continuous feedback process. So you will be having the performance rating of the employees. So you have to evaluate the performance rating with the nominations. So if you found something error, then you have to talk with the respective manager, because we know that respective associates will create or will make rapport with their managers. So by that rapport, they will take that as advantage and they will just nominate their associates. So that shouldn't happen, right? Because these rewards cost the organization a lot. So in order to prevent that, you have to align the rewards and recognition nominations with the performance, and should understand where the gap is. And the next is performance management analysis. So this will include performance distribution, talent distribution, box fitments, etc. And it depends on the kind of module or model that you would like to implement in your organization. The next would be leave utilization analysis, because I have already told you each leave cost organization a lot. So how much it is costing, how many leaves has been utilized by the associates, you have to clearly mention it in the form of days. In the case of in the case of numericals, the respective payroll department or HR operations department will be taking care of it. And then you will be generating leave utilization reports, balance reports, and reconciliation reports. So what are these reconciliation reports? So I have told you, right? So these timesheets and the leave reports are completely correlated, because few people they won't they won't update those leaves in the system, but they will update that in the timesheets because it should be approved by the managers. If that is happening, then it creates a gap, and which creates a loss for the organization. We as a HR shouldn't incur loss to the organization, right? So hence we create these reconciliation reports in order to understand the gap between, or the difference between the timesheets and the leave report. And then we create this leave reconciliation report, and we share the reminders to the associate in order to update their leaves in the system. So this is what usually happens, guys, in the corporate if you work in HR department. So just wanted to tell you guys, like people, you might hear what does HR do in the organization. They just only disperse salary to the associates. That is not the thing, guys. If that is the thing, then these many departments won't be evolved from a single HR business unit. So these are the HR departments, and many people dedicatedly work for the respective for the respective activities, and in order to satisfy their employees, in order to serve employees and the organization. And yeah, these are the departments we have in the HR business unit. And if you have any other queries, you can comment. You can give your comment in the comment section. I will be addressing your queries. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, guys.